Hey team, Patrick here, and in today's lesson we're going to cover the return of serve, and specifically three elements of the ready position, the technique, and where we aim the return that are going to have us getting more balls back in play and give us more opportunities to break serve. So let's get into it, starting with our starting position, and you guys can take the quiz that I've been giving my students all week, and it's, do we want to position ourselves closer to the middle, so the baseline tee? Do we want to stand in the middle of the box, or do we want to stand a little bit wider towards the inside tram line? And in my experience, most club players stand in the middle of the box here, but I'm going to say we want to stand a little bit wider towards the inside tram line, and we want to have our body position angled a little bit towards the server. This is simply because we want to bisect the middle of where my opponent can hit the serve. Now we know they've got to hit cross court, so the best serve they can hit would be an out wide serve towards the tram line here that really takes me outside the lines of the court. I'm thinking of a right-hander here that's got a good slice serve out wide, or particularly if they like to use what we call a serve +1 strategy against us, where they hit the first serve out wide and then they hit the second ball into the open court. If they do hit a ball down the tee from here, down the center line, well, at best, it's going straight, but generally it's going to be coming on a slight cross-court angle towards me. So even from here, I can still come across and cut off this ball in this position. Whereas if I'm standing in the middle of the box, well, I'm standing in the middle of the physical court space, but not in the middle of where my opponent can hit the serve and the angles that they can create with the serve. Now getting into our technique, and most players think, well, we're just playing a forehand or a backhand, right? But the return of serve does have a bit of a technique all of its own, or I like to say it's actually more like a volley technique in this instance. And that's because the return is generally the quickest shot that we're going to have to deal with within the point. So it starts with our good split step, and we want to be in the air as the ball is on our opponent's strings. It doesn't mean we need to jump super high. We just need to land in our little bit of a lower, more athletic, ready position here, ready to really sort of push off and explode towards the ball, whether it's coming to our forehand or our backhand. Once we land our split step, we want to make what we call a unit step. And yes, I said unit step. We're going to combine our unit turn and our first step, where let's say it's coming to my forehand here. I want to turn and step out with my outside foot, the foot that's closer to the ball here. And I want to limit my backswing to the turn of my body. I like to imagine I've got a brick wall behind me here where I can't turn back any further. This just shortens up my backswing. It makes it a little bit more compact. And if I'm dealing with a fast serve here, it just gives me a little bit more time to still find the proper contact. Now I want to step in. So I've stepped out. I want to step in towards the ball and go and meet it. Now this can be counterintuitive for players because I just said we were returning a fast serve, and players want to go backwards to give themselves more time and more space. But again, we talked about the angles earlier. If somebody's serving a big serve out wide, I'm either going to miss the ball entirely. It's just going to hit the side fence by this point. If I do get it back, I've just given them so much space to hit their next shot into. So I want to step in to cut off the angles. Now with my more compact backswing, I can use the pace that's already on their ball to redirect it. And I can have a little bit of a forward swing just to sort of really control the direction of my strings and control the spin that I want to put on the ball. The timing of my step in, and we said this was a little bit like a volley. It's the same as a volley. In this instance, I want to hit the ball just before my foot hits the floor. So it's split step, it's step out, it's hit, and then it's step. This is just going to give me a little bit more time. It's going to stop me being late, and it's really going to get my weight transfer going towards the ball, going through the ball towards my target. Finally, where do we aim the return? Well, I like to chop the court into thirds. We've got cross court, we've got down the middle, and we've got down the line. And if we're returning a big first serve, I like to say aim right down the middle of the court. Not only is this going to make you super consistent, it's also going to take the angles away from the server to hurt move the next shot. We used this phrase earlier, the serve +1 strategy, whereas if I return cross court here, well, I'm giving the angle to go sort of short cross back behind me or down the line. And if I return down the line, unless it's a good return, I'm just giving them the angle to hit the next ball cross court away from me here. Now, we do need to go deep. I don't just want to sort of dolly sort of it up sort of short down the middle, but if I can go sort of deep down the middle, back at their feet, I give them nothing to work with the next shot. I like to tell my players that you've got to make yourself hard to beat. Now, there's always going to be a time that a player hits a good serve, an ace or an unreturnable serve, but if I've got the ball on my strings, let's just get it back in play. Maybe I have an opportunity to create something later in the point, but let's not make these bad mistakes. Let's just get every ball back in play. Okay, right guys, go out and practice this. Not enough players are practicing their return of serve. We could argue all day about sort of what's the most important shot. I think most players would probably say the serve, but if the serve is the most important shot, then the return of serve has got to be the second most important shot. I think it's no coincidence that the greatest returner of all time in Djokovic is currently sort of sitting on the most Grand Slam titles. So if you've not checked out this channel already, guys, please give it a subscribe. We've got new coaching videos, whether it's on technique or strategy, coming every week. If this video has helped, please give it a like and get into the comments. Is your return of serve a strength? Is it a weakness? Is it something that you do practice? And we'll see you on court in the next video.